Like North, the Boyd Broncos fall in the first round. Their season ends with a 31-8 loss to Skyline in the 5A Division I playoffs. And Coach Don Drake is with us now. Don, you said at this point last week this game was going to be more about mindset than it was going to be about X's and O's, about game plan. And intimidation certainly wasn't an issue. You're facing one of the top 10 teams in the state, 10-0, one of the best in the area, and your team fought very hard.
Yeah, I was real proud of the kids. You know, I thought we came out and we played hard, and I thought we played physical, and I thought we got after it. And, you know, obviously we didn't come out on the right end of the scoreboard like we'd wanted to, but I thought our kids competed well. I thought they represented us well, and I was really proud of that.
On to Eagle Mustang Stadium in Richardson this past Friday night, by-district round of 5A Division I. Big question of the night, could you move the ball with the area's top rusher, Brian Driscoll, against one of the best defenses the area has to offer? And the answer was yes, you could.
Yeah, Brian ended up with 126 yards, I believe, on 29 carries. That's the first rusher over 100 yards that Skyline had given up all year. That's actually our total rushing yards for the night were about double of what their normal output defensive output normally is. So again, you know, what looked like not a ton of yards was actually a lot more yards than what Skyline's usually given up.
126 on 29 carries. Driscoll finding holes, and defensively you had to compete with the likes of Devontae Kincaid and David Green. Skyline scored on its first 3 possessions. Big run early, but after that you made Skyline work on their drives. You limited the big plays, so key against this team.
Yeah, it's huge, you know, and I think early on we you know, getting adjusted to the speed of the game. I mean, you know, they've got some athletic players over there, as we talked about last week, and so, you know, the kids kind of having to get a feel for what that's like. But, you know, I thought we stepped up. I thought especially in the third quarter defensively that we stepped up and played really, really well. So, again, I was real proud of the kids' effort.
Several seniors on defense playing in their final game. Jamal Palmer, of course, headed to Baylor. A guy like Tanner Larson, a great high school football player for you at linebacker, and they gave you everything that they had left in their final varsity game.
They did, you know, and I asked a lot of those kids, and I asked them, you know, to compete and challenge, and those guys do that. And you know, I'm just I'm sad to see those guys go. I really, really am. But I'm so proud of them, and I'm so happy for them.
You were down 21-0 at the half, Don. What was the locker room like? You really made it a game in the second half, but I'm sure that halftime moment in the locker room was a critical part of this game for you to make sure that your team had the right mindset going into the third.
Yeah, no doubt. And we had talked to the kids earlier in the week about our plan of attack in the ball game. You know, and obviously not everything went according to plan, but you know, I told them early on that we're going to be patient. We're going to be patient offensively, and in the second half, we're going to take our opportunities to go win the football game. You know, and so walking in at halftime, I mean, that was really my message. I said, hey, we're not exactly where we want to be, but now's time to unload the gun. You know, and I thought our kids came out in the second half, and I thought they got after it in the third quarter, and you know, it's 24-8, and we have the ball on their end of the field, and it's 4th down, and we don't convert, you know. And if we do, you got a chance to go in and hopefully get within 1 score late in the ball game. And our kids competed well, and I thought, you know, picked their spirits up in the second half and got after it.
It was 24-0 before you put together a 13-play, 79-yard drive, almost 6 minutes off the clock. Curtis Ladd delivers twice on 3rd and long, passes to Dickman and Wallace. He takes it in for the score. It's 24-8 with the 2-point conversion pass to Wallace. And I'm sure you're just dreaming of what Curtis could be as a junior with 1 year of varsity experience under his belt this season.
Yeah, we're excited about Curtis coming back. You know, that's one of the things I told him after the ball game, but that he had a really good year, especially for a sophomore, especially for a kid that's 15 years old, and he's sitting in that kind of situation. So we're thrilled to have him back for 2 more seasons.
Boyd climbing back into this one, 24-8. You got to stop the offense back to work, like you mentioned. That other drive ending in Skyline territory. It stalled at the Raider 43, on 4th down, as you had 4th and 1. An illegal procedure penalty sets you back 4th and 6, unable to convert. But you know, you certainly made Skyline sweat there in the third. You could have made it, you know, from 24-8, perhaps 24. You could have made it a 1-score game.
Mm-hmm. And that was our hope, you know, that we can get to a 1-score game in the 4th quarter and then go win it in the 4th. And I really wanted to see how Skyline was going to respond under pressure, because nobody's put any pressure on them all year long in terms of the course of their season. And so, I really wanted to see if we could keep it close right there or play it close into the fourth, what that pressure would do to them and how their kids would respond. And I really felt like in the third quarter, as we started moving the ball and started gaining momentum, that we had them knocked on their heels a little bit, And unfortunately, we weren't able to convert that fourth down and really see what would happen if we were able to score and apply more pressure to them. But again, they're a great opponent. They're obviously very, very athletic, and I was proud that our kids went toe-to-toe with one of the best teams in the state of Texas, and for that matter, one of the best teams in the country as far as the national rankings go.
How did that defense compare to what you saw against Garland in district play?
Well, I think they're just as fast as what Garland's defense was, but they're a lot bigger, I mean, their linebacking core, there's some good-sized kids there. Number 7, the Jenkins kid, I believe, is going to the University of Texas.
Right.
The middle linebacker, 17, is a phenomenal player. All those kids can run, and so that's, I'm very, very impressed with them.
But like you said, Brian Driscoll, first 100-yard outing against Skyline's defense all season. You said you were ecstatic about having Curtis back for 2 more years. You have 1 more year left with Brian. He eclipses 2,000 yards for the season in just 11 games. What are you going to remember the most when you look back on Brian's junior year?
Well, I knew coming in that we needed him to play a very, very vital role. And I think the biggest question about him coming in was how many times could I actually have him carry the football and be the one that carries our offense,
300-plus carries,
right.
Says he did that
exactly.
quite well.
He did it quite well. I mean, there were several times throughout the year that he carried it, 40, 41 times a game for us. Obviously most games was in the 30 range, which is a lot of touches for a kid, and I thought that he handled it very, very well. And so that's probably one of the things that I'm going to remember the most about this season is that I needed him to be that kind of guy for us to be successful, and he was that kind of guy for us.
I know it's tough to take solace in a loss to Skyline, but overall your message from the beginning of the season was follow success with success. Another 8-win campaign. You take a top 2 seed out of the district. You certainly did that overall. Finish at 8-3. Yeah, you didn't get back to the area round. You obviously wanted a deeper run, but you did follow success with success, another playoff appearance.
Yeah, and that's what I told the kids this morning. As I wrapped up my message to my seniors today was I challenged them months and months ago about doing that very thing. We had never followed a really good year with another good year. In the growth of this program, that's something that had not been accomplished yet, and I told them a long time ago and challenged them to go help us do that again, and they did. So hopefully we've laid the groundwork with their help and their dedication to our program of that's what's expected, is that, winning 8 games, winning 7, 8, 9 games a year is something that we expect our kids to do every single year.
What will you remember most about this senior class? We mentioned Palmer. You had spectacular talents like this in this class. You had great high school football players in Tanner Larson, and you have an inspirational story in Toby Olaru up front playing at 175 pounds, if that, at left guard and standing at 5'7".
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that you hit the nail on the head. I think it's, yeah, you've got a kid like Jamal who's a phenomenal football player, as we all know, and he did some great things for us over the last 4 years. But I think it's those unsung heroes. It's those kids that aren't going to Baylor. It's those kids that aren't going to sign Division I scholarship. It is the Toby Olarus. It is the Tanner Larsons. It is those guys who just through hard work, dedication, and just raw toughness that I ask them to give me, that we're able to have a really good football team. And that's, for me, is what makes me so proud as a coach, is that we can take our kids and we can go out there and line up against the Skyline and compete. And they may have 10 Division I kids on that football team, and we have one Division I kid on our football team, but we can stand up and compete with them because our kids just give us every ounce that they've got. They're fighters, and so it makes me real proud of them.
Don, congratulations on the season. We really appreciate your time as always.
Thank you.
Don Drake, head coach of the Boyd Broncos. The foundation has been set for this Boyd program, back-to-back playoff appearances.